everybody. I want to talk about our assignments this week. All of our assignments will be done through MindEdge. We don't have to upload anything to Blackboard. However, I don't want that to limit the importance of these assignments in your mind. They are essential to our success for our critical analysis, as we will be focusing on the thesis and the reverse outline for this week. Alright, in MindEdge, our first assignment is just a handy, quick little activity to help us determine effective and ineffective, or strong and weak thesis statements. And it's one of our cool interactive activities, but it is required, so let's make sure that we do complete it, okay? And it's going to help us really understand what makes a good and effective thesis statement. And then our next assignment, we are actually going to be completing and identifying our thesis, okay? And this is really important because the thesis is essentially the backbone of our essay. It's going to kind of dictate how we present all of our information. It's kind of like a thread that we can think about starting at the top of our essay, and it's going all the way through our paper, and everything kind of ties into that thread. So our thesis statement is incredibly important. And what I wanted to clarify is our thesis statement for this essay is based off of that claim. Throughout the entire term, you have been thinking about a claim, about your response to these essays that we have read. And now we're going to be calling your claim your thesis, and we just want to tweak the way we write it a little bit to fit what it needs to be in order to be a good, strong, and effective thesis for our critical analysis. So, for example, and you don't have to write your thesis this way, but I strongly encourage that you reflect at least how this format is presented in your own thesis. And of course, you absolutely can write your thesis this statement exactly the way that MindEdge and I recommend that you do. A very simple and effective thesis statement would be: the article's theme of blank is blank. And then we provide 3 pieces of evidence, those 3 key points that support our claim. So for instance, if we're working with my perspective of that McFadden paper, I could say McFadden's use of blank, strong language, is blank, ineffectual because, and then I provide 3 specific examples, okay? So what is your claim? It doesn't have to be phrased as a theme. It could just be Braxma's use of evidence is very effective because he relates to factory workers, he shows the difference between factory life and college life, and he uses very simple examples to explain and support his point. Okay, so it's exactly what we've been working through the entire term. It's just phrased a little bit differently. So take a look at your claim and see how you can fit it in this format. The key thing that we want to do is clearly state our opinion and give a rationale for that, and then give 3 reasons supporting that, okay? Alright, and then the third assignment that we have this week is our reverse outline. Now, reverse outlines are cool. I know that a lot of people aren't a big fan of outlines, but they are really, really beneficial when we're writing these kinds of analysis papers, and super, super great habit to get into, as you're going to be expected to write longer and more complex papers depending on the field that you're going into. Alright, our reverse outline, we can do it one of 2 ways. You can actually print out a copy of your essay draft so that you can scribble on it, or you can download it and just have 2 versions on your computer. But what we want to do is have a format, either printed or in Word, where we can actually write and comment on them. Okay? The first thing we want to do, say we print it out, is write your thesis statement at the top of the paper. Just write it or type it right at the top of the paper. That way you have a clear mental and literal image of what your thesis is, of what you're trying to do. And then we want to do the first part of T and make sure that we can say yes to all these awesome questions about our thesis statement. Then the next thing that we want to do is, based on our answers to those questions, make any necessary changes that you can to your thesis. If you can't say yes to all the T questions about your thesis, let's change our thesis a little bit, okay? You should make these edits directly on your page. Because it's a draft, you can scribble all over it, you can type all over it in Word in a different color, whatever you need to do to be successful. Then the next thing that we want to do, number 5, is read 1 paragraph at a time and write the main idea of each paragraph in the margins of your paper. Okay, remember that each paragraph needs to have a clear main idea that you're talking about, and that's going to translate very nicely into your topic sentence. And then for number 6, we want to go through the rest of our T analysis to make sure that we have effective topic sentences, we're using our evidence effectively, and our analysis is effective. And then based on your answers to these questions, we want to make necessary edits to your draft. Okay, so this is essentially a really great way to proofread and make sure that we have a strong supportive essay for our critical analysis. Another cool thing that the reverse outline allows you to do is by writing the main idea on our paper itself of each paragraph, we can see how our paper is flowing. Does it go from one idea in that thesis in a logical order? Do we mention Braxton's use of evidence as our first key point in our thesis, but we don't really talk about that until the end of our paper? That kind of thing. It allows you to really see what the order of your paper is, and that's super handy and effective because then you can just go in and change the placement of your paragraphs. But what we really want to do is make sure that we are hitting all of those T concepts. We want to make sure that our thesis is solid, our topic sentence is solid, we're using evidence effectively, and our analysis is clear. All right, so we go through and make a reverse outline. And then, this is an important part, we edit our draft. You cannot just submit the same paper that you did before. We're going through a very rigorous, very awesome editing process here, so we need to see some evidence of that editing in your new draft. Okay, so after you do your T analysis and your reverse outline, I want you to actually just copy and paste your new introduction into this text box here. Remember that your introduction should provide an overview of your selected article and end in your thesis statement. And then in our next little box here, I want you to actually copy and paste your newly edited body paragraphs in the order that you've decided to have them right here in this box. So the first box is going to be your introduction. The second box is going to be all of your body paragraphs. Okay, and then finally, I want you to submit your conclusion in the very last box here. And your conclusion should begin with your thesis statement, followed by a very quick summary of the main points of your essay. And it should include those insights about your claim established through your analysis. And remember that last question in our Mind Edge activity the other week? We want to include insights that we have gained through this analysis. Okay, and then make sure that you submit all of them. And then here's the thing, I want you to download it into a Word document and keep it. Okay, I want you to have that Word document ready to go for our next assignment, but you don't have to upload it into Blackboard just yet. Okay, we just want to make sure that we're all set here for our next set of assignments. That being said, just because you don't have to download it and then upload it into Blackboard like we have with some of our other assignments doesn't mean that you can't do this assignment. Okay, this is a required assignment and it is incredibly important and it's an incredibly beneficial step supporting the development of our critical analysis. So let's make sure that we are doing time management and we're getting this assignment done. And if you have any questions at all, you know how to reach me. We can chat, excuse me, we can text, we can Skype, you can visit digitally the virtual SNHU Online Writing Center, and you can ask any question that you have in the General Questions Discussion Forum too. Alright, so let's start early on this week's assignments, and you guys are going to do awesome. You totally got this.